Meyer Kahane and Dennis Prager, you're on.
Dennis Prager. Good morning, gentlemen. Now, I have a question for Rabbi Kahane, and we've spoken before in person, and we've spoken on the air. And my question is this: if the Arabs living in Israel swear their allegiance to Israel and honor its flag and what it stands for, then I believe they deserve to live there. But unfortunately, the reverse is true, and no nation is obligated to tolerate a people that seeks its demise. So, in other words, their goal, I feel, is to pursue, well, we know, to pursue the mythology of a Palestinian state in Israel, especially considering that Jordan is a Palestinian state which occupies 80% of what was considered the Jewish national homeland. So, in that sense, I'm asking a question. It's a hypothetical one, but if the Arabs living in Israel swear their allegiance to Israel and honor its flag, we do know that Arabs living in Israel enjoy a better standard of living than any Arab state can offer them. And if they realize that and they're truly citizens, would you still feel the way you do, Rabbi Kahane?
Of course, Al. The problem is that they're citizens. If tomorrow morning the Arabs all became
hypothetical about it.
Wait a second. I don't duck questions like others do. Just listen to me. I'm going to answer the question. Of course, that doesn't change anything, because if all the Arabs tomorrow became saints, and I was now living in a state with 730,000 Arab saints, who in 20 years will be 2.5 million or 3 million Arab saints. And in 30 years will be the majority of the country, but saintly. I don't want to live as a minority under any saints.
No,
we can't.
Missing my point.
No, believe me, I'm not missing anything. They can swear allegiance to Israel, but if they have 61 Arabs in that Knesset, do you believe that they will continue living in a state which is called the Jewish state?
But I have to say something. There are two very important points here. First of all, again, Rabbi Kahane. You did. You gave it an excellent answer, and you were right.
I will decide when I have finished, and then you can, of course, pick up. And
No. I understand. It's a very good rhetorical device. You made a very clear point.
Dennis Prager, I haven't finished my point at all. Well,
let's hear your additional point.
Fine. No, I'm speaking to him and not to you. And you can listen if you want to. Now,
is this how you got elected? It's remarkable the way you speak.
Dennis Prager, please.
It's really remarkable.
Dennis, you aren't one of my voters because you're not a citizen of Israel. So you can vote for anybody. Now, the fact of the matter here is that one of our problems is that you stated the living standards of the Arabs in Israel are higher than that of any other of any Arab state in the world. Of course this is true. But why must people think that you can buy other people?
No.
1 second. You can't buy the Arabs' national pride by giving them an indoor toilet. You can't buy him by saying, look, we will let you go to a university. The most dangerous Arabs in Israel are precisely those who are in universities. And as their living standards rise, they become much more dangerous.
Rabbi.
You can buy a condominium and you can buy a Cadillac. You can't buy an Arab. Not by bread alone does an Arab live.
You know, many Jews fell in the line of battle fighting with Israel.
Right.
You know that.
I certainly do.
And I know many names. One time listening to shortwave, listening to Kol Yisrael,
yes.
I thought I was on an Arabic station because the names that were 18 names that had been mentioned, 6 were Jews and 12 were Druze, and I'm trying to remember. I don't remember now. I don't have the statistics in front of me. But this is the point I'm trying to make. If they're willing to give their lives, their allegiance. You see, this is the point.
It's irrelevant to Rabbi Kahane if they're willing to do that. It's irrelevant because morality is an irrelevance. As he often says, morality is a Western invention unrelated to his understanding
Never said
of
that in my
Judaism.
life.
You said it constantly.
Never.
Constantly. You said morality is a Hellenistic idea.
Never said it
Yes,
once.
you did.
You show me where
I
said
certainly will.
You give me the place, and
Okay, that is a deal. Absolutely.
I'll swim
You
back
got a
to
deal.
Joe.
Okay, you got a deal. Absolutely.
All right, but wait a second.
no, let me finish.
Listener
That's correct.
I want every listener to listen to
That's
these words.
correct. Fine, and you will be doing your swimming. But the point is,
When
no,
can I expect you to tell me this?
Within a week. Right,
A week
Al, you bet. Well, the giveaway or part of the giveaway on Rabbi Kahane's moral understanding is he said, even if all the Arabs were saints, that's very important. In other words, the issue is not morality, it is truly race. It is Arab blood that is detested, not Arab morality. In other words, no matter how decent they might be, he wants to kick them out. That, to me, is the essence of the entire issue here. Morality is foreign to his understanding. It is a blood-based understanding. The second issue is that he says that if they will have one day 61 members of parliament, in other words, a majority, in other words, everything keeps coming back to this hypothetical, despite the fact that Arab birth rate is down, despite the fact that they are nowhere near a majority of Israel's population. They are not moving in that direction. That is why I keep coming back to this issue as the untruthful essence of the appeal. No one denies who is Jewishly identifying the need for a Jewish state to be Jewish. But on that grounds, to throw out people on the basis of their blood, I don't see the moral connection.
All right, we have to take a break. We would like to answer Dennis Prager.
Yeah, I think that Mr. Prager's last comment about our blood and so on, Dennis, that's really not nice.
Blood libel?
Oh, of course. It is. It's a blood libel. You know very, very well that if any Arab came to me and said, I would like to become Jewish, and he converted according to the proper standards, of course, just as any other Jew, that he would be welcome, blood and all. So I think that you should try and be a little honest. It's not easy, but try and be honest. My problem with I haven't finished yet. My problem with the Arabs has nothing to do with their blood. It's that they want Jewish blood.
No, but you said even if they were saints. Oh, Rabbi, you said even if they were all saints, you'd throw them out. Meaning, you would go to their homes and you would ship them away. Is that true or false?
You must learn.
No, you must learn honesty.
No,
answer me. You like yes or no questions.
You will learn patience when I finish speaking.
No.
An answer, ask the question, and then you get the answer.
Very good.
I'm now speaking. That's a good boy. Now, the fact of the matter is,
obnoxious.
Oh
God.
God won't on this thing.
You should have him on many hours, because I really believe that the support for the rabbi in the country, the more he speaks, diminishes. That's a service, Ray, that you're doing the country.
Okay. Now, so obviously it's not blood. It's a question of Arabs whom I respect, because they believe that the country's theirs.
You respect them so much you want to chase them all out.
Exactly. And if I didn't, I would be like Dennis Prager, who would say that they're basically good, and we can find ways of living with them. But since I know that the Arabs who are in the camps outside of Israel want to go back to Haifa and to the Galilee and to Jaffa and to Ramleh and to Lida and to all these Israeli cities from which they originally came, and because I know that the Arab sincerely believes that it is Palestine, not Israel, therefore I respect him for it, and I don't believe that we'll raise his living standard and he'll be a good Arab. It doesn't matter whether he's a good Arab or bad Arab. He believes that the Jews are thieves. And he knows that Dennis Prager, if things get too hot for him in this country, can come to Israel, ask to become a citizen, and automatically get it, even though he's lived his 30-odd years or 40-odd years in this country. Whereas his cousin, the Arab, cannot.
Rabbi, I have a question. How do you resolve the solemn promise that was made in 1948 to the Arabs, if they would stay?
What solemn promise?
There were no promises made?
There were promises made by people. And there were other people who thought that was the greatest tragedy ever. my God, if in 1948 the 110,000 Arabs who were there at that time would have left, it would have saved us the 4 Jews who were murdered this last month. I was at their homes, and Dennis Prager wasn't. I was at the hospital bed of a young Jewish child who lost his leg in an Arab bomb because Arabs are in Israel. Prager wasn't. This is a tragedy.
All right, Patty, you're on with Rabbi Meir Kahane and Dennis Prager.
Hi.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. I live in Jerusalem. I happened to come in last night and catch your program, which is kind of interesting. I'm an Orthodox Jew, and I have a statement and a comment. First of all, I'd like to say that my Jewish sensitivities as an Orthodox Jew, right, it hits me very funny, wrong to kick all the Arabs out of Israel. That's what all these Jewish people did to Jews in other countries, and there seems to be something wrong with it. However, in my opinion of what the Israeli populace feels about Meir Kahane right now is that it is growing. Why? Because Jewish blood has gotten very cheap. When you live in Israel, and every other day there's another terrorist attack, these senseless attacks on Jews, they are so cocky, they just thrive on Jewish blood running in the streets, that people like myself, who are committed to Judaism, who are idealistic, and who normally wouldn't want to kick all the Arabs out of Israel, the support is growing for Meir Kahane because there is no solution. When you've got an enemy within your borders who is acting as an enemy and killing you right and left, the people who are not normally supporters of Kahane are becoming supporters of Kahane. And there is like a feeling underneath that, you know what, it's getting ridiculous. I don't agree with Kahane, and it makes me upset that I'm starting to agree with him. But I'm not willing to sit and live in Israel and Jewish blood to just run in the streets without... nobody cares. It's okay. The Arabs just get away with it. There's no death penalty. When a terrorist kills a Jew, it's fine. They get released. So that there's this feeling growing in Israel that there's no solution to living with Arabs except to get rid of them because of the way that they're treating the Jews. That's the first...
Let me ask you a question. This is Dennis Prager. The rabbi was asked earlier if the Arabs metamorphosized into Israel-loving, or at least certainly respectable, non-terrorizing citizens, would he still want them thrown out? And he said, of course he would. How do you feel about that?
You know what? Theoretically, theory does not interest me. I live in Israel, and for an American Jew to sit in America and say, theoretically, what would you think if all the Arabs would come around? I know better. I live there. It's not the case. You're not talking reality. I live there. I want to have children there. And if you tell me theoretically if the Arabs would turn around and be nice and love us, what would you do? And I'm telling you, come and live there. You know, you get a lot less liberal when you live in Israel.
You know, I can just, say that this is one of those calls that is really sent from heaven. The tragedy is how someone can sit here, living off the side of L.A., a weekly radio program, making a lot of money, going around lecturing North Carolina, South Carolina, West Carolina, East Carolina, and babbling about the Arabs and they're nice and they'll be good and they'll be happy. You live in Israel, and I do too. And we see every single day attacks upon Jews daily. Sometimes Jews are killed. Sometimes, with God's help, they are not killed. Every single day. And these intellectuals sit here intellectualizing about, but it's not nice, it's not moral. The rabbis have a word to say about Dennis Prager, and their comment was, he who has mercy upon the cruel will someday be cruel unto the merciful. It's the Dennis Pragers who are the unwitting silent partners in the murder of Jews in Israel.
Rabbi Kahane, if I can just ask you a question.
Wait, I'd like to respond to that. I didn't know the rabbis spoke about me, and I'm actually flattered by the inference. But I got to tell you that, first of all, you know better personally, Rabbi Kahane, than to say that I go babbling around the country, since you and I were involved in the Soviet Jewry struggle in New York. Many years ago, when you two were in the United States, and your self-righteousness about your heroism in Israel, in the last 14 years, I found to be less than impressive. So much about the babbling and about how much people make on any given issue. And as far as Jewish blood is concerned, I dare say that, first of of all, just to be statistically, I understand that it is easier to say this in Los Angeles. Nevertheless, truth is truth, even if it's said in Los Angeles. And the fact remains that the number of Israelis killed by terrorism in any given year is far, far less than the number killed in a couple of months on the cars on the highways of Israel. I mean, before we speak of this, that's a statistic, Rabbi, and it doesn't mean that any one life that is taken is cheaper than any other. However, if you want to protect Jewish blood, I dare say, and this I appeal to you who are calling as well, Rabbi Kahane's solution sounds wonderful, but in practice will spill so much more blood and will cause the de-Judaization of Jews elsewhere in the world and in Israel, will cause a civil war. The man thrives on hate. Jew to Jew, Jew to Arab, the rabbis dissociate themselves from him precisely for that reason. And therefore, I know your heartfelt cry about this despicable, low morality of Israel's neighbors. But for us to sink to it gives Arafat the greatest victory he could seek.
My question, can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead.
Well, my question is to Rabbi Kahane is this. I was not aware that Rabbi Shah disagrees or disapproves of the policies.
It's not true.
Jew,
Wait. It's just not true. He just lied again. It's just not true.
It is not true. Are you stating for the radio that Rabbi Shah supports you? Yes or no?
Of course I am saying that he doesn't back me, but on this issue, yes.
There you go.
On this issue, he supports me.
On what issue does he support
On the
you?
Arab question.
What does that mean? Be specific. Does he support Rabbi Kahane?
He certainly believes that.
Yes, it does. That's on the record.
Okay,
all right, fine. I will have proof of that as well, that it's simply not true.
Okay. Patty, I want to thank you for my Mayor Kahane and Dennis Prager.
Hello. It's really a pleasure to speak to both of the guests here. And basically what I'd like to say here is I've been a listener of Dennis for quite some time, and I agree with 99% of what he says and what he stands for. However, for the first time, I'm a little disappointed in what he's saying. I don't agree with most of it, and I'd like to ask him if he's thought a second time about this.
My motto against me, huh? I've thought about a few hundred times about it. The essence of my entire life as a Jew and as a human being is that the Jewish people has a task to bring the world to ethical monotheism, to the belief that there is one God for everyone who demands one ethic for everybody, and that therefore the essence of Judaism is that you treat every human being with the identical ethic.
Well, yeah, that sounds real good, and it's really...
Well, it also says it in the Torah, there will be one law for you and for those who live among you. It means, and that the rabbi is going to tell it, even though it says that the Jews were converts to Egyptian paganism.
Well, the other thing I'd like to say is I heard the rabbi quite a bit on the radio TV lately, and it's really, it boggles my mind how he gives clear, concise answers to all the questions, yet every time, every time he comes on the air, he gets asked the same ridiculous questions every time. Are you a Hitler? Are you an Arafat? And
why are they ridiculous? Well, if he wants to do to Arabs what Arabs want to do to Jews, why is the question ridiculous?
Well, Dennis, you know better than this.
No, don't tell me. Answer me. I'm willing to learn from you.
Okay.
He says he would like to do to them what they would like to do to Jews. So tell me why it is not a fair question.
Because, Dennis, you should know, if anybody does, if someone's going to kill you, you're going to take care that it's not going to happen if you can.
That's in the Talmud, right?
In other words, that allows you, therefore, to basically kill any Arab in Israel.
He's not saying that.
Yes, he is saying that. He's not saying. I'll read it from the Baltimore Jewish Times, okay?
Read it.
Here you go. 8/23/85. Kahane. Believe me, when Kahane says that they must go, they'll flee. We'll put them on trucks and send them over the Allenby Bridge. Question. And if they resist, Kahane. We'll use force, and if they fire at our soldiers, we'll kill them.
No, fire at our soldiers, we'll kill them.
Exactly. In other words,
you're such a fraud.
No, excuse me. The fraud, let's let our listeners decide who's the fraud.
Since
you said, I agree with you, since you said we'll use force, that presumes that you will kidnap Arab families from their homes. Now, if they then resist you, you'll shoot them. Now, if that is not a prescription to shoot Arabs, please tell me what it is. Come on, we're not your audience of supporters in Israel. Defend us logically. Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. I want to throw the Arabs out because they, from the 1920s, have killed us.
You're not answering my question. You're not answering my question. You're the one who likes direct answers. You deny that you would kill them.
That is Prager. Just shut up and just let me answer you. Let me answer you. Otherwise, I can't answer someone that doesn't let me answer. Okay?
We have someone holding on in Jericho, New York.
Yeah, Jericho, don't worry. Those, words will come tumbling down. Now, the fact of the matter is that, of course, I want them thrown out, and I hope to throw them out peacefully. And if they resist, we will, of course, use force against them. And
kill them, you said.
Dennis, you have a tremendous problem.
No. You have a tremendous problem. You hate logic.
Let me just finish.
Please finish it.
That's right.
Because we do have a... we want to get to finish it.
Hold on.
Waiting to...
Every time you... I
finish it already.
Dennis, quiet. Now, calm down. Now, the fact is, therefore, that if they will use force, and if they will fire at our soldiers, of course we will fire back. And the fact that, for example, that the Jews do to Arabs what Arabs do to Jews, such as using Jewish tanks against Arab tanks, doesn't make the Jews and the Arabs the same.
All right, let's take a call from Edward in Jericho, New York. Good morning, Edward.
Good morning. Rabbi Kahane makes a logical argument that instead of debating Mr. Prager and everybody else I heard, unify them. There are logical answers. The most logical answer, it seems to me, is you're right. It's too bad it couldn't have been done in 1948. It obviously can't be done today because Mr. Prager and his, I don't want to say young people who ever think like him around the world make it impossible. I want to say that if Mr. Prager sees no difference between deaths on the highway and the murder of Jews by Arabs in Israel for reasons of politics, religion, nation, whatever, then he obviously sees no difference between a highway death and the murder of Martin Luther King. There are a difference in the degrees, qualities, effects, and purposes of death.
So, since Rabbi, you went first, have you go first this time, and the last word from Dennis Prager.
Is that how it works? Okay.
All right, I think that's fair.
That's right.
You have 30 seconds.
Okay. I think that the listeners have, of course, listened. And, of course, I hope that they've also heard. The fact is that the state of Israel's fate lies in the balance. And, of course, the Arabs aren't a majority now. But the rabbis in the Talmud said, who is wise? He who sees the future. I see tomorrow now. And I want to end it before Israel turns into a bloody Northern Ireland.
Dennis? The Jewish people have suffered terribly in the Holocaust and are suffering terribly at the hands of those who would like to repeat the Holocaust in the Middle East. It is no wonder that, given all that hatred, that we would breed the mirror image of those who wish to destroy us. In that sense, Rabbi Kahane is a Jewish tragedy, but happily and untragically, he has minimal support in Israel, and he has minimal support among those who love Judaism. Rabbi Meir Kahane, member of the Israeli Parliament, and Dennis Prager, radio commentator, thank you both for being with us, and to both of you, shalom.